It's your favorite Dr. Honey, Dr. Faith Abraham. I'm literally just doing this impromptu video. I just finished group coaching for Life Mastery Academy. That's my group coaching and mentorship program. And I was like, you know what? I'm already dressed and pretty. Let me just go ahead and do this video. I was looking at my notes on my laptop, which is connected to my phone. And it was how to be confident as a person with ADD or ADHD. And I was like, I'm making it now. So here it is. If you are an entrepreneur or you're a person that is any type of neurodivergence, this video is for you. So if you like this video, smash the like button, subscribe, and share this with somebody that it will be beneficial to, who needs this encouragement. Because the truth of the matter is, I personally feel like, now this is impromptu, so I'm really going off my heart and my head right now, but I really feel like the world is really fixated and created for neurotypicals, which makes sense. Reason being is humans, the way all of our brains are wired is we like habit. We like things that are predictable. We like things that we don't have to think about all the time, which is why we have biases, why we have certain beliefs and values that we have. It's easy to be passed down because it's already ingrained within us, or it's just passed to us. So it doesn't require a lot of thought. Now, if you begin to grow and be exposed to different things, and now you're like, okay, wait, maybe I want to reassess that. Now it's work. Like, it really feels like effort and work because our minds are really set towards habit and predictability. And so most people are neurotypical, whereas it's a small segment of the population that is neurodivergent. And even in neurodivergent people, there's these different intricacies. So there's a lot to, for example, the autism spectrum, it's a spectrum, right? It's not like, oh, someone has autism and they all act like this. No, it's a spectrum. So it literally can just show up with hypersensitivity, nonverbal, or, well, this one is verbal, but this one is, there's just all these different things that could be present. And it's not suitable for being able, for the mind. It's not suitable for humans to pay attention to all these divergencies. So we'll just loop y'all here, and then neurotypicals, and since they're the majority, then we're just going to abide by the majority, right? So we literally have been exposed and are reared in a neurotypical world. And so that means that when you're different from the majority, usually your confidence is going to take a hit because you're not like everybody else. Think of right-handed people versus the amount of left-handed people. Most notebooks are made with the ridges on the left-hand side for right-hand people. So then lefties have to kind of turn it, or there are some left-handed books with the spiral on the right. So it's just kind of the world we live in, but that also means you kind of look at other people and like, how come my brain doesn't just do that? How come I don't just think like that? How come I just can't do this at the time I want to do it? So this is how you're gonna become confident as a neurodivergent person. Me personally, I feel like number one, you have to lean into it, because we're comparing ourselves all the time with other people. And, the word says that when you compare yourself with yourself, or it says specifically, he who compares himself with himself is not wise. So you comparing yourself with himself, which is another person, another human, you're not wise. You're literally allowing your joy to be taken away, and you're literally disqualifying how you are naturally wired and how you are made and created by God, right? And so now you're creating tension and resistance within yourself. That knocks out and knocks down your confidence. So the way that you're going to stop creating a resistance within yourself is to come in agreement, come in alignment with how you're wired. If you pay attention to how you think about things, or how your brain flows, or just because you don't rise early in the morning to get a steak on the day doesn't mean you're not going to be successful. If you're a late riser, to be a late riser. Like if you're an early riser, to be an early riser. If you know what I mean? Like if sticky notes is your thing, then let it be your thing. And, you know, like learn how your brain is wired and flow with it. Like a lot of times people feel like, oh, I'm just a procrastinator. I just procrastinate. No, you're not a procrastinator per se. You just perform well under pressure. So then once you know that, you start figuring out ways to apply pressure to yourself so that you can produce. And once you know how to do that, then it's like, I got this. Like you're like on top of the world. You know, all I got to do is this, and I can get the result. I can produce whatever it is I need to produce, right? So number one is flow in alignment and be in agreement with how you're naturally wired. Number two is stop comparing yourself. Of course, this is easier said than done. You've been doing it for years, and because your brain is already wired and set up to compare because you've been doing it so long, it's a habit. It's going to require intentional thought for you to begin to shift yourself from comparing. So one of the things I started doing so that I don't compare myself so much to other people is like, wow, I love, you know, for example, I love her shape, or I love the way she wears her hair. And instead of me running on this spiral and going and buying all these wigs and going and cutting my hair and dyeing my hair like every whim, every time I see somebody and it looks good, or I'm like, I know that's gonna look good on me, so let me go and do it. Like what I do is like, oh, I love that and I appreciate that on her, and I love and appreciate what I already got going on. That right there in itself just eases that comparison game and that comparison spiral that can go. So I just give myself something else to use versus going down this rabbit hole, which then I start hyper focusing on stuff. Then I start spending money, and then I start engaging in a new hobby or a new thing. And then once I'm done, it's like, dang, look at this. You know, I have to start returning stuff, or I'm like, golly, I spent too much, and then I start beating myself up. It just turns into this very unhealthy way of relating to myself. So basically, I give myself something else to focus on to subjugate that comparison trap. Okay, so you got to figure out how to do that for yourself so that you can spare yourself the entirety of the experience that comes out of comparing. Number one is, what's number one? Number one is just coming into agreement and coming into alignment with how you're naturally wired. Number two is, stop comparing yourself. Find a way to trick your mind to not going down that spiral and then everything that comes with that spiral. And then number three is to really become a part of communities that give you more understanding and knowledge on neurodivergence. And here's the thing, like, I love social media, and I feel like a lot of people have come into understanding of themselves because of social media, but social media isn't that relational thing, that community thing that we all need. Like, even though introverts are introverted, like, oh, I don't need that. Well, this is the best place to meet people, right? This is the best place or time to, if you're going, at any time you're going to immerse yourself into a community, this is a good community, because now you don't feel so alone. You don't feel so different. And you can really begin to figure out ways to function and to operate at a healthy level. And then also just love yourself for who you are instead of beating yourself up for who you're not. And those three ways, I believe, are really great to help anyone of any level of neurodivergence. I feel like it is a journey. If you want more, I would say definitely check out Dr. Amen, is how you say his name. It's spelled Amen. But Dr. Amen, he's done a lot of study on it. You can take a free exam. I'll find the link and put it in the description box below so you can have access to that, just to see what type, because he categorizes the ADD in 7 types. of ADD. He also has tests that you can take to really find out and get a map of your brain. I haven't done that yet, but that's definitely on my to-do list, to get a map of your brain and see the areas of your brain that either get a lot of blood or supply or not enough, or don't go off, or don't respond, or do respond too much. You know, the dopamine, the serotonin, like all of those fun things about the brain that you want to learn. He does that. And then I think I have another link somewhere, probably in my phone. And it's just like a free test, and you can find out more about your neurodivergence. Oh, and then also a book. And the book is really, really good. And she talks about, I don't think I ever did a book review. I'm going to end up doing a book review on it, because that book was so good, because it goes into sound and light and the way to change and shift your environment in order to nurture yourself and give yourself the things that you really need, that you didn't realize that you need. And, you know, recognizing these little nuances that you have is just really how your brain is wired. It's not a good or a bad thing. It's just a thing, right? So I'll put that in the description box below as well. And then, okay, I have two more things. So if you're neurodivergent and if you want to start reading books, there's this app called Bionic Reader, and it like changes the way the words are so that your brain stays in tune and you can just like keep going. And listen, I am an avid book reader and I can read a book, but that thing, doing it the way that it does, is so cool. And I really get to hone in. Like when I was a kid, I just forget about everything. So that app is really cool. And if you want to pick up reading again, do it. That app will help you. Then the other thing is, if you want to really grow on your personal development and your journey and just become everything that you're meant to be, but you find yourself easily distracted, like even watching videos or listening to podcasts or listening to videos. If you haven't done this yet, click on that button and it shows like the settings of the video and the podcast. And instead of it being at normal, change it to 1.25 or change it to 1.50. Tell me in the comments what happens. Tell me in the comments how you were able to go from the first part of the video or the podcast to the end of that thing, just because you sped it up and you actually retain what you heard, because that speed allows you to stay focused and allows you to hone in. I can be here forever just talking about all these things that you can do to like just change your life and to continue growing as a, you know, the living being that you are. But I'll leave it at that. Let me know if you like this video. I told you the 3 ways. If you do, tell me in the comments. Let's have some conversation. If you know any other hacks, I'll call them neurodivergent hacks. Put it in the comment section so that somebody that comes and watches this can learn something and have something else that they can use to improve their life, to love themselves more, and to realize that, hey, we all have a brain. Everybody's brain is different, but we can always cultivate it, shape it, and do our best to train it so it can actually produce for us. All right. Love you guys. See you in the next video.